Hey everybody, welcome back. This is post-game review of UTSA traveling to TD ECU Stadium. No longer TD UTSA because we only scored 2 TDs there, so we can't claim that anymore. So, tale of two games, right? If you were to tell their fan base they got 3 interceptions, they would wake up the next morning and tell you, "Oh man, wiped them out. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even a game." If you were to tell our fan base, we outrushed them, outgained them, held them to pretty minimal, I don't want to say minimal yardage, but less than ours, had more first downs, you'd say, we ran away with it. But yet here we are, 17-14 loss. So what do we have to unpack? I mentioned our offensive line. I was worried about that. I think our offensive line did pretty good. They really did. I think they requited themselves quite well. Didn't quite push around their defensive line as much as we've seen them push other defensive lines around. Now, we are talking a Big 12 opponent. It's still Houston. I mean, they didn't, just because they joined the Big 12, they didn't magically become, Texas or Oklahoma, right? But we did get enough seams for our running game. Our running game was great. Frank was spied either by 1 or 2 guys all game long, and I don't think our offensive coordinator picked up on that enough because Frank, anytime he tried to run, really wasn't there. The minute he started moving, they made the decision to attack him, right? Now, I think his offseason injury, he's not quite healthy from it yet, and I think that's what created some of the problems for us. But for sure, Josh Cephas had a great game, 123 yards. We did miss JT. He lost Z, so that's going to hurt us. But our running backs, I said, was probably our best tandem of backs we've had ever. And they showed up. They showed out. They had a great game. They really did. Got through some holes, really pushed around yards after tackle. That was really nice to see. I think that's going to bode well for us in the AAC and future competition. What I didn't really like, there's a couple things, right? We got to clean up the turnovers, right? 2 of those turnovers were just right to Houston players. One of them was a Houston player made a great play. So it's good and bad, right? We win with Frank. We win a lot with Frank. So we got to take sometimes when he's not playing so good and he's not making the right decisions, right? But we got to clean up the penalties. Oh my God. Oh, lining up offsides on a 3-point. There's the game. There's the game, right? We did play well defensively. I was not unhappy with our defensive effort. A little small on the defensive line, but we still got some pressure. We're close as a program. We're really close to being where we need to be, right? At the end of the day, we are where we need to be. We're in the AAC. I think we compete with anybody in the AAC. Will we win it? We'll see. I told you that 7 victories were going to be a tough road for us, right? And, well, here's one of the 3 losses that if I told you what JJ said, 9 wins, well, there you go, right? This is one of them in the regular season, right? If you look at our schedule, those are one of the 3. Now, should we hang our heads low? Absolutely not. We played pretty darn good football. Here's my big issue in the game. Big, huge issue. We got 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years, right? So you expect a little drop off. But we really didn't have that big of a drop off. I think this offensive coordinator, to me, is a little bit better in the game than our last 2 have been. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying we had a better offense. I'm not saying we played more spectacularly. But But what I am saying is he did a lot better of putting us in positions to be successful in kind of a conservative way. And that was nice to see. It really was. I did not like the two wildcat formations. I think the down and distance in those. Wildcat, if it's not your full offense, needs to be 2nd and 4, 1st and 5, right? Maybe 1st and 10, okay, that's fine. But not 2nd and 10, not 3rd and 11, that kind of stuff, or 2nd and 12, whatever it was. I like the idea of them. But like I said, give me 2nd and short, then let's run it. Get us into the goal line, then let's run it, right? Because now everybody's bunched up. Misdirection plays into your favor. But when you're 3rd and long or 2nd and long, misdirection doesn't really play all that well in your favor in a wildcat formation. It just doesn't, right? Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago when, Rich Rodriguez was running that, and who's that guy that was at Ole Miss and at Arkansas before that? Houston Nutt was running it, right? Maybe then. But kids are seeing it now. And they kind of know you've only got one of two ways to go, right? You really don't have that third option when it's a long down and distance, right? Kids are much better coached up. They don't get stuck peeking in the backfield, right? The cornerbacks. And that's what you rely on 3rd and long, right? Was happy with how our fan base showed up. We were organized as a team. These are ones that just, do they sting when you lose? A little, right? Because you left it there. It was the 3 turnovers. You left it there. It was a mental error. You left it there on that field goal, right? Now, I got a huge complaint. Reviewing that play, that was inconclusive. And especially where they marked it, that ball wasn't at the yard marker. I mean, they put it right on the yard marker, right? Just enough to get the nose past the line to gain, right? That ball wasn't there. His wrist was down long before that ball got there. What can you say? Can you say it shouldn't have even been in that situation? Yeah, but okay. Well, if that's the case, then why even have rules? Why even have penalties? Think about it. Every penalty matters. Every play matters. If that had happened in the first half and we lost by that, then that's a huge play. It's not that it was at the end of the game, right? It wasn't a first down. It wasn't conclusive enough. But they sure were very specific about the spot. It is what it is. It is what it is. We can hang our heads high. We played tough again. Our program is on an upward trajectory. I'll say it again. Our coach needs more time to coach. Our coach needs more time to recruit and less time to do other stuff not related to coaching and recruiting. As a fan base, we need to step up and support the best we can. That's buying tickets. At a minimum, we should be putting in 37,000 in our stands. Yeah. Don't watch it at home and say, oh, the Alamo Dome's too hard to get to. Because you're the same ones that say that. Oh, you'll easily get in your car and drive 4 hours to hit the beach one day. And then come back and go back again the next week. You ain't complaining about the heat, right? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Stop making excuses. If you're waiting for the Roadrunners to be a perennial powerhouse, then you're part of the problem. Just plain and simple. These kids play hard. And you saw my interview with Caleb, and he's still grinding to make the next level. He's a great kid. He was fun to talk to. Heard my interview with Austin Phillips, who's now our long snap, going to be our future long snapper as a freshman. He's a freshman this year. We got a lot of good people around our program, and we need to support it, plain and simple. So we played Texas State. G.J. Kinney played for Coach Traylor. I have a feeling we're going to see a very similar offense. I don't know. I didn't look at the Texas State game versus Baylor. He got brought in a lot of transfers. Okay. I'll still roll with my guys, right? I know it worked for Dion. I do. But at some point, that burns other kids. You need more than the 15 kids you brought in, right? You're going to need, at some point, you're going to need more than 15 kids you brought in, 20 kids you just brought in, and dumped other kids that played hard. They can't help it their coaching staff was crap before, right? Didn't get good coaching staff. Coach's supposed to coach up. No, I ain't. Look, it's part of the rules. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say, I think when you show a little bit more commitment to your kids, now if you get rid of bad kids and bring in good kids, it's a different story. Right? That's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes you got to cull the herd, right? Plain and simple. You just have to. It's going to be interesting to see. Probably get close to 40,000 in the stands, and I hope it's a lot more Roadrunners than it is Texas State Bobcats because they're hungry. They're hungry. They want us bad. What would you say was the turning point in our game? 3 interceptions? Yeah, I think that it's right there, right? We were moving the ball very easily. And their one super long pass, our kid was right there. I mean, that was just a great play, offensive play. Our kid defended as best he could. It wasn't like he was burned, right? So we'll see how this goes. Let's see how the season plays out. Let's see how we continue to grow. But at the end of the day, I expected this, so I'm prepared for it. Not down on the kids, nothing like that. Still enjoyed my time hanging around Joseph and his buddy Mark. Thanks for the free tickets, by the way. Really enjoyed it. Always love watching my Roadrunners play football. Always loved college football my entire life. It's a fun game to watch. It's a fun game to watch. Let's see how we play out. So, looking at the rest of it, we definitely need a healthy JT. We definitely need a healthy JT. He's got to get on the field and he's got to be healthy. Rumor has it probably Tennessee he plays. I personally would just say, look, the first 4 games don't matter. What matters is conference. Get him healthy, get him reps, get him in conference play, right? How would we feel if we lost him at Tennessee? But I see why they're going to play him there. I mean, think about it. It's our second SEC opponent, right? We played Texas A&M. But traditional SEC opponent, traditional household name, so he has a chance to play, show something to the next level, and I can see why. I can see why he would want to. I can see why the coaching staff is going to support it. You can't blame them. You got to let the kids eat. Let the kids enjoy the game. It's about playing the game. But frankly, in the grand scheme of things, that game does not matter at all except for how we play against them, right? As long as we play hard for 60 minutes, as long as we make a good showing of ourselves, say like we did at Texas, hey, you know, that's what the program needs. That's what Coach Traylor is building. He said it in his post-game interview. In this game, they believe in the triangle of toughness, and they missed one. They did 2 of the 3, right? And go listen to his interview. It's a great interview. It's a great response after the game. He's not about vanity losses or whatever you want to call it, right? Moral victories. He's not about that. He says it's great that his kids played hard, and he'll always expect perfect execution from them, right? But he doesn't want to get in that mindset of, well, we played perfectly, perfect execution, it's good enough, let's move on. No, you still got to win, right? Still got to remember what you lost to move forward, to put victories on the board. It's still that they keep score, right? We came up short. They missed field goal, we missed field goal. Now, it was kind of tough, right? It is what it is. It was pretty windy out there. It was windy in the field. Those flags didn't look like it, but in the concourse, there was a good breeze. It was blowing beer cans over. It was blowing paper over. I mean, it was moving pretty good. But We came up short. It's okay. It's okay. May have been no joy in Mudville, but it's not anything we can't regroup, recover from, right? Reestablish ourselves as a program. It's going to happen. We're fine. We're fine. I may have to, after playing Texas State, see what I think, because I still see 7 wins. I think that it's hard to win a lot of games many, many years in a row. And we've done it in 2 years, right? You heard it in the interview with Caleb talking about coming in as 3-9, right? Or 4-9, right? 3-9, 4-8, whatever the record was. He mentioned it, to all of a sudden 7-5 to now winning 12 games and back-to-back Conference USA champions. You know, that's a meteoric rise. And it's hard to handle those consequences of success year after year after year, right? You get into a rut, you think you're improving, right? But when you look at it, you really haven't improved anymore, right? You haven't really even peaked, but you think you have because you're going through the same stuff because it worked last year, worked yesterday. But you don't realize you got just a little bit more to get a little bit better, to get a little bit grittier, right? And that's what I'm talking about. So don't be surprised. And there's nothing wrong with that. Look at all the teams that do that. At the top level, it's rare to have back-to-back champions, right? Georgia did it the last 2 years, right? Alabama was the one who did it before them. That was a 10-year gap between the two. Yes, a decade between back-to-back champions, right? Now, they both won a lot of football games, but my point is there's always the chance to step back because it's hard to maintain that level of excellence, right? You think you are, and you don't realize you're not. It's kind of, someone has to tell you you're not, right? Not being mean or anything like that, but someone has to tell you you're not maintaining that level of that level. You're maintaining excellence, but not that level or the next level necessary to beat your opponents who have come up to meet you. That's what I'm talking about. If we finish out 7-5, would you be upset? I wouldn't. Now, let me see what we do at Texas State, and I may have to change my initial thoughts of what we're going to do, what we can do. I know what we can do. Oh, I know we can go 10-2 now. Oh, I know it. What I saw Saturday night makes me feel good about when we play Tulane. It does. Oh, I know Tulane BCS busted. Okay. They struggled with Houston. They had to beat Houston in overtime. And it was a bogus defensive pass interference that set them up to win. I text my buddy, I go, there was no pass interference there. But they called it. And then they scored on the next play. Right? It is what it is. That's how it goes. Right? So anyway, birds up. Peace out, Roadrunners. I'll see you in the Alamo Dome. Be ready for them Texas State Bobcats. It'll always be Southwest Texas State University to me. I'm old enough to remember then. Peace out.